Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to talk about the season 3 finale of The Boys. It was called The Instant White Hot Wild. As it begins, we find Homelander visiting his kid, whom up to this point he didn't know the location of, but now does because Natalie gave it to him in the last episode. He actually talks to him like an actual dad, saying that what happened to Stormfront wasn't his fault and that he'll always be there for him, and you could tell he was sincere and that he really cares for this boy. And the kid gives him a big hug, and Homelander seems to enjoy it very much. And it was actually a pretty nice scene. Like, if you didn't know anything else about Homelander and you saw this scene, you'd be like, oh wow, what a nice scene between a normal father and a normal son. So it was pretty cool to see that, because it means that there's a human being in there, and we already kind of knew that. But everybody knows, if you've watched this channel, that I'm a sucker for a redemption story, and I think they can really redeem Homelander at some point if they want to, and this is just evidence of that. And it's just a really great scene. It shows that he's really in there, and that he is human, and that he does feel things, and that he's not a sociopath. And again, it's a massive credit to Antony Starr as an actor, who just can show us all these different sides of Homelander. He's just incredible. Anyway, Butcher and Huey plot with Soldier Boy to go to New York to take out Noir, who I guess they have figured out is at the tower, or they think he's at the tower. And it seems like the three of them are still on the same page as far as taking out Homelander goes. So the question is, did Soldier Boy lie to Homelander about being his father? I wasn't clear on that after this scene. Mother's Milk and Frenchie seem to have acquired the deadly concoction that they were talking about last episode that they want to use on Homelander. And I guess Soldier Boy or whoever, but yeah, they have it. It turns out that because of a search warrant that was on its way to the tower, Ashley and Deep had to move MAEVE out of the basement cell she was in. And they didn't secure her well enough, so she escaped. Vaught's stock is in the tank after Homelander's comments on the video that Starlight recorded went wide. Black Noir, in fact, returns to the tower and suggests to Homelander that they kill Soldier Boy when he shows up. For some reason, Butcher decides to strand Huey at a gas station on their way to New York, and to continue to New York along with Soldier Boy. A-Train goes to see his brother and is not received well, though he seems to be back to his regular uniform. Huey calls Starlight, and after she picks him up, she tells him about the Temp V being fatal, and it turns out that, at least in Huey's view, Butcher ditched him to keep him from going to New York and taking more of it, because he knew it would kill him. Starlight, Mother's Milk, Huey, and MAEVE all meet up and are concerned that they need to try to evacuate the tower before Soldier Boy shows up and wipes it out in his attempt to get Noir or Homelander or whatever. Soldier Boy tells Butcher his life story, and apparently he never could gain his father's favor, even after he became Soldier Boy, because he only achieved it by cheating, according to his father, by joining up with Vought and getting the V. And it seems like he's having second thoughts about taking out Homelander because he's the only blood he's got, which pleases Butcher not at all. When Homelander asks Noir if he knew that Soldier Boy was Homelander's father, he admits that he did. And Homelander actually breaks down and cries for a second, sad over the fact that somebody knew and, close to him knew and didn't tell him, and that he could have known all of this time if only they'd told him. And apparently over the fact that he now has to kill Black Noir for this, because that's what he does by ramming his arm all the way up to his elbow through Black Noir's torso, literally ripping his guts out. Butcher locks everybody but Soldier Boy and MAEVE in a safe so that they can go kill Homelander, I guess without interference. Homelander meets with A-Train and the Deep and Ashley and seemingly suggests that they take out the presumptive vice presidential candidate, which the Deep is hesitant to do because it seems to him to be treasonous, but he does it anyway, and he kills this guy by hiding in his pool and then drowning him when he goes in. The gang breaks out of the safe and decides to take on Homelander once Frenchie cooks up another batch of the nerve toxin that MAEVE threw out the window before everyone was locked in the safe. And as they're leaving, Huey finds some Temp V in a drawer by accident. Maeve, Soldier Boy, and Butcher show up at the tower, and Homelander tells them that he killed Noir and actually pitches a team up between himself and Soldier Boy to Soldier Boy. He trots out the boy, who of course is Soldier Boy's grandson, and tries to sell him on the idea that they're family. And he seems sincere about it, but I don't think Soldier Boy is buying it. In fact, he calls Homelander weak and treats him like his father treated himself. And when he goes to kill Homelander, the boy zaps him with his eye blasty thing, knocking him out of the room and across the hall. This, of course, gets the boy tossed by Soldier Boy, which causes Homelander to be visibly upset. And, you know, him doing that also doesn't sit well with Butcher or Maeve, any more than it sat well with Homelander. So they turn on Soldier Boy, who is apparently out of his fucking mind. After that, Butcher continues to confront him while Homelander tries to see to the boy, but Maeve attacks him. Just as Soldier Boy is about to finish off Butcher, the rest of the gang shows up and attacks Soldier Boy. Huey goes to the security office and calls for an evacuation of the tower. Kimiko and Frenchie infiltrate the lab and try to make the toxin that they need. And when they are attacked by guards, Kimiko goes off on them all Flashdance Maniac style. It was kind of cool, actually. And she, of course, takes them all out. Maeve and Homelander continue to beat the shit out of each other. When Kimiko shows up with the nerve agent to the scene of the fight, Soldier Boy tosses her across the room. Huey turns up all the TV lights in the tower studio where everyone is fighting, and Starlight goes all Super Saiyan in the presence of all this extra lighting. She knocks Soldier Boy down, and the gang grabs him and doses him with the nerve agent, or rather tries to. But before the nerve agent can take him down, his nuclear blast starts to go off. And in order to protect everyone in the tower, including the boy, Maeve stops fighting Homelander and flies across the room, knocking him out a window, Soldier Boy that is, after which he explodes, presumably killing her. But he usually survives the blast, so does that mean he's still alive? The boy then decides that he wants to go with Homelander, and he and Homelander just leave, and Butcher and those guys just let him go, which I thought was kind of weird, but anyway. Butcher then immediately passes out, and he seeks medical treatment, at which point he's told that he has about a year to live because of the Temp V. It turns out that Maeve, in fact, wasn't killed, and she's at Starlight's place, where I guess she's been visited by her girlfriend. And, you know, she's missing an eye now because of her fight with Homelander. And apparently her powers are gone since the explosion. So she plans to go live with her girlfriend on a farm somewhere. Ashley watches a video file of Maeve being picked up by Mother's Milk after the explosion, but deletes it, apparently so that no one will know she survived. Soldier Boy did in fact survive his own blast as usual, but I guess it knocked him out because he was picked up as well and put in a hyperbolic chamber on, you know, with the mask on his face, I guess to keep him knocked out, you know, via the nerve toxin or something. Starlight at the boys' headquarters in the Flatiron building incinerates her supersuit. The gang officially inducts her into the boys as Annie, knowing full well that Butcher is probably not going to like it, but they don't care because now they say that the gang is a democracy and not a Butcher dictatorship. It seems that Natalie has maneuvered herself onto the presidential ticket as VP after the Deep killed the guy that was going to be on the ticket before. This causes Butcher to decide that she needs to go. Homelander introduces his son to a crowd, and when one guy throws something at them and it hits the kid, Homelander takes the top of his head off with his eye blast, and the temporarily stunned crowd takes a moment before cheering the crap out of him for doing it. So there ends the season. I like this episode. I thought that the character stuff that it brought out in Homelander was very cool. I'm bummed out that Black Noir is gone because I don't think he's coming back from what happened to him. It was pretty harsh, pretty difficult thing to endure. I'm glad that Maeve is still alive. I'm glad that nobody else died, so I think it was a good episode. And I liked this season quite a bit, which is not a surprise. But, you know, I have to say that I think it was a bit of a cop-out the way they resolved everything, because we never did get to see Homelander and Soldier Boy team up. Like, I think that would have been a hell of a thing, and we never get to actually see it, not even temporarily, where, you know, they team up and then after a while decide that, yeah, they're really not on the same page. You know, where they team up temporarily, but then after a while figure out that, you know, they're not really on the same page. And we didn't even really get the opposite of that. We didn't even get a real fight between them. Like, it was a split second thing. So why? Why is that? Why didn't they do that? It was kind of a cop-out, I thought. And, you know, just in general, the whole ending is kind of a cop-out because nothing happens to Homelander either. So the status quo kind of just continues on into next season with things exactly the way they were at the beginning of the season, you know, in the overall sense. And I'm kind of thinking, why didn't they at least seriously hurt Homelander? Like, where he's temporarily depowered or, you know, laid up in the hospital like Stormfront was at the beginning of the season with massive injuries. You know, they don't do that either. He just comes out of it squeaky clean, the same as always. And I thought that was kind of a poor choice. I mean, you know, we've had now 3 seasons of him just, you know what I'm saying? And there's no, that would have been an interesting turn, something they could have done in the 4th season that would be interesting to see, you know, him dealing with that and whether or not he gets his powers back and whether or not it changes him at all. But nope, they just, it's the same. The season 4 is going to start off just like season 3 did. I thought that was kind of disappointing. I think one thing they could do, and that I would do if I were them for next season, is I would start with a time jump. I would start it off where now the kid is like 16, 17, you know, because what is he, 10 or 11? So I would jump 6 or 7 years for the start of the 4th season and have him be, you know, an adult with powers instead of just a little kid with powers, and play that out a little bit where he and Homelander, you know, wreak havoc as a team and, you know, explore their relationship and explore the whole idea of the kid coming of age with powers and seeing whether or not they're actually on the same page, you know, because right now the kid idolizes him. The kid's kind of lost and he, you know, he's disillusioned with Butcher and he likes Homelander, but does it stay that way? Does he develop issues with his father? And do they end up in conflict? You know, that would have been cool to see. So, or that would be cool to see, I should say. So I hope they do something like that next season, whether they time jump or not. But I think it would be good with a time jump. But it remains to be seen what they're going to do. But I'll be here for the ride whenever season 4 arrives. We know it's already been renewed for season 4, so that's definitely coming. Hopefully it won't be as long as we waited for season 3. But yeah, I'll be back to review that, and I will be back with other content sooner than that. I'm going to take off for now, and until I see you again, I wish you peace and long life.